Hi there, everybody. Welcome to day 6 of VEDS. I'm filming this a couple days ago. I don't quite know exactly what my upload schedule is going to be yet, but I'm sure I've told you guys already. In fact, yeah, I definitely did. That I found a fun little niche on TikTok talking about the history of various BC Ferries boats. And it's been a lot of fun to share my knowledge of the history of their fleet. But I'm here today in Maple Ridge at a spot that is not BC Ferries related, but it was a ferry that used to serve my hometown here. I'm here next to Kingfisher's Restaurant at what used to be the old Albion Ferry Terminal. It's hard to see over the fence, but you can still tell that this used to be the old ferry terminal. They've made virtually no changes to it. You can still see the original lane markings here, 1 through 8, and I remember that it used to be, I mean, now there's very little traffic going down here. Well, there's some. I mean, it's used mainly as an industrial park out here, and like there's a recycling depot, and of course this restaurant, which was actually built here. It was originally in this building specifically to serve ferry customers, but then they bought and or built the building in behind it. I actually worked there for a while, and it's still a thriving restaurant, so that's where most of the traffic around here is for nowadays. But back in the day, I used to remember if you saw cars lining up down this road, it meant you were in for a sailing wait or two. Nowadays, getting to Langley one town over is easy. You just take the Golden Ears Bridge, and just like that, you're there. But yeah, until surprisingly recently, I mean, I guess it's been like 15 years now, but yeah, in my childhood, it used to be a ferry. Now, it ran pretty frequently. When I was a kid, they had 2 ferries, the Kalit and the Klatawa. They would go from this dock here across the water to another dock you can see from here, right there where that truck is parked. This brings back a lot of memories because this is where the family would go every time we would have to take a trip to Langley to go to my grandma's house. So this became sort of part of the adventure, that you would have to wait in line, get on the ferry, and you could stand outside like we would often do and watch the short trip across the river, take in the sights, I suppose. And for adults, it was probably a nuisance to have to do that every time, but as kids, we thought it was like this epic journey. A construction company is using this dock right now to just store some things. I know that it's been used by car dealerships to store some excess product from time to time. I don't know if they rent it out from the city, but still lots of remnants of the old terminal, including, I can't remember, I think that was just a cruise quarters in there. There's still the original dock there. Still, you can tell it's got that green paint job that it always had when I was a kid. And yeah, they've just had no reason to redevelop this area. The first Maple Ridge to Langley ferry service operated from here in 1957. They had one boat back then called the T Laguna. I probably pronounced that wrong. T Laguna, I don't know how to pronounce it. It was an old ferry even then. Could, yeah, literally only hold a few cars and had reliability issues. So citizens of Maple Ridge actually kind of hated that ferry. It was doing this job for over 20 years though, but in 1978 they finally got 2 replacement ships, the Kalit and the Klatawa, which actually ran pretty efficiently. You'd have a ferry come, I want to say, every 15 or 20 minutes or so and take you across that water. And the city of Maple Ridge had the Kalit and the Klatawa serving this crossing until 2009, when the Albion ferries were shut down for good. So yeah, 13 years actually this has been, I was gonna say abandoned, but clearly it's not abandoned. People are using it for stuff, but it gives off some abandoned vibes just with all the original lanes still painted in, and there's some markings here and there and stuff. That, of course, like I said, I remember. The Kalit and the Klatawa were sitting in Port Coquitlam, not too far from me, for a while, but then they got moved. I believe I have read that they're somewhere in the Greater Victoria area right now. I actually learned that they were in the Victoria area the day after I came home from Victoria, so disappointed that I didn't know that when I was there. Anyway, I'm going to take a trip now over to the other side, that ferry terminal on McMillan Island right there, and see what's left of that. I know the dock is still there. I'm not even sure how far up you can drive that anymore. I'll see what that area looks like. This is a frustrating memory from being a kid being brought back here. that the ferry terminal was in behind this train track, so that if you get stuck behind a train like I am right now, it would add even more time to your travel. This is absolutely such a trip for me. Since getting off the ferry for the last time before it closed in 2009, I haven't done this trip. This portion of the drive through the forest here is, largely unchanged from how it was all those years ago. Really just amazing to be back in this area again. I'm just crossing over onto McMillan Island now, down the old road that you used to take to the ferry. I see a lot of construction ahead. I might not actually be able to get all that close to the old terminal, but we'll see. Actually, we're here now, and it's pretty gated off, unfortunately. So like I said, this road used to be a hub of activity for people making their way over to Maple Ridge, but this is as far as I'm going to be able to go. If you look all the way back there, you can sort of see where the road ends. You can even see some cars parked over there, where people used to park if they wanted to walk on that ferry, where that truck and 2 white cars are, where that was. I remember there weren't like a bunch of lanes here to pull into. If you were waiting for the ferry, you'd just line up down this street, and I remember it wouldn't be that unusual for it to be lined up back this far. I remember on the right side of this road, just a little bit further up, and I know you can still find remnants of where it used to be, but I won't obviously wander any further. There used to be a little snack shack there. Actually, all it was a couple of vending machines. But when you're 12 years old, a couple of vending machines is very... Oh, you know what? I had no idea. This is actually the entrance to the Kwantlen First Nation Reserve. So you have to have status, I think, to go any further. Well, even if I couldn't go to see the old terminal on this side of the water, hopefully y'all have enjoyed me just taking a bit of a walk down memory lane. I have, again, not been on this road at all since at least 2009 when the ferries closed, but probably a little earlier than that because we would have had no reason to do this once the new bridge opened. But it's hard to believe that that time in my life when we would take this trip to Grandma's house was 15 years ago now. Again, like I said earlier in the video, even though it was a little bit of a nuisance to take the old Albion ferry, and it's a lot easier to use the bridge now, as a kid, taking a trip over water on a boat every time you wanted to go see your grandma was just all part of the adventure, and I remember being really sad when those ferries closed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel if you've been enjoying my videos, and you can ring the notification bell too if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video, which will be tomorrow and every day for the rest of this month because I am, of course, doing VEDS. Check out the description for links to all of the other wonderful fellow VEDsies who are also making a video every day in September. It's a crazy project. We're just about a week into it now and just having a great time. Thank you so much for watching, and as I said, I will catch you again tomorrow and every day for the rest of this month.